Oh, it, there it goes.
Welcome, everyone. We'll give everybody just a couple of minutes here to get logged in, but I would love to know from you if there's a specific camp that you're interested in hearing about and what kind of grade level the kids are that you are wanting to know information about. So high school, middle school, elementary school, that would be really helpful to know. So we are in webinar mode, but you should have access to the chat. And if you have questions already, feel free to put them in the Q&A or use the Q&A as we go. We'll give everybody just a couple of minutes before we get started. We'll go with one more minute and then I will get started. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I know there were a lot of people who signed up and were unable to attend tonight but wanted to get the recording, so it might be just a small group tonight. I just want to quick introduce myself. My name is Kelly at camp. I go by Polar Bear, and I've worked with Girl Scouts of Alaska camps for about 15 years now, and Girl Scout camps other places before that. And so I've worked with all of our different camps, our Juneau Day Camp, our Togowoods Overnight Camp, Singing Hills Day Camp, and some of our community day camps in different places. So I'm involved in the planning of all of the different camps, although Camp Togowoods is where I've spent most of my time while working with Girl Scouts. So tonight I'm going to go over an overview of our different camps, what kind of ages, grades, programs, activities, how to pay for camp, a little bit about cookie credits, and make sure that you all know where to find the information and where to register for camp. So this session really is for all of you. And so if there's specific questions or specific camps or programs that you want to know more about, please throw those in the chat or the Q&A, and we'll make sure that we get questions answered. If there's some question for some reason I don't know the answer to, we will make sure that we get your name and contact information so that we can get your questions answered. So thank you all for being here tonight, and please don't be afraid to type in the chat and ask questions. So can everybody just somehow, maybe Alexis even, can you tell me if you can see the PowerPoint still?
I can see the PowerPoint and I'll be in the chat tonight as well, answering questions. And you're also welcome to message me in the Zoom chat directly if you have a more private question. But yeah, I can see your PowerPoint.
Awesome. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and get started then. I will say at the end of the webinar, I'm happy to let people unmute and ask questions live as well. All right, so I briefly talked about it. We have a variety of different programs for Girl Scouts of Alaska camps. Camp Togowoods is our overnight camp out in Wasilla. Camp Singing Hills is our day camp property that we own in Togowoods. We do Juneau Day Camp at Sandy Beach, and then we do community day camps in lots of different places across our council. So I'm going to talk about day camp first, and then we'll get to overnight camp. So at all of our day camps, no matter where the day camp is or what day camp you're signing up for, we do lots of different things, and girls get to try lots of different activities. So everything from environmental education. This group in the picture is exploring the beach. I'm pretty sure that's in Juneau. They'll learn about outdoor skills. So that could be creating trail signs or learning how to start a fire if it's safe. Sometimes we've had really dry summers in places. Girls will go hiking. Oftentimes we just call this exploring or adventuring. And girls get to find out more about the area that they're in. Girls will participate in arts and crafts activities. All girls get to sing camp songs and play games and get together as a team and figure out how to work together. Our girls have told us again and again that their favorite part of camp is making friends and meeting new people. And so that's really an important part of camp. And girls at all day camps will participate in some science, technology, engineering, or math activities throughout their week as well. And then at Camp Singing Hills specifically, we do have canoeing for groups as well. So Girl Scouts who are going to Juneau Day Camp or Singing Hills Day Camp can choose between Discover Girl Scout Camp, where girls try all of those activities that we talked about, or Discover Nature Camp. And really, the only difference is that Discover Nature Camp is going to get a little bit more in-depth with spending more time outdoors in nature, maybe more activities specifically connected to animals outside or the environment, those sorts of things. But girls in both of those programs will try all the different activities. We also have a program aid option, and that is for older girls, girls going into 7th through 12th grade, where they can learn leadership skills. So there's often in a group somewhere between 12 and 15 girls, and then 1 or 2 program aides as well. And then at Singing Hills specifically this year, because of the 4th of July, we have 3 one-day programs happening, or 3 days worth of one-day programs, I guess I should say. So that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, one day is Amazing Animals Camp, one day is Outdoor Adventurer Camp, and one day is Girl Scout Badge Explorer, where they will actually specifically earn a badge and get to take that home with them. And then each of those days, we also will have one group that's doing Discover Hiking, where they're going to take a trip out of camp and go hiking. So each day is a different age group. So like I said, program aid is an option, and it's an option at community day camps, Juneau Day Camp, and Camp Singing Hills. And there is an online training course. It's not very long. It's a few hours with lots of activities and time to practice things. And it's a leadership-focused camp. So program aid is all about meeting girls where they're at in their leadership journey and having conversations with girls to figure out what it is that they want to work on. So whether the camper is excited to take the lead on an activity or really just wants to watch and see what their counselors are doing first. We will meet girls wherever they're at in their leadership journey. And girls who complete that online training and then are a program aide for a week of camp will have done 2 of the 3 steps for the program aide pin. So the last step involves helping out during a troop meeting. And this year we have a bus for girls to get to Singing Hills. So it's about a 30 or 40 minute drive from Anchorage out to Camp Singing Hills. And so we do have a bus that stops at the GSAK Library and Baggage Middle School before it goes out to Camp Singing Hills. Then it comes back in the afternoon. But parents are also welcome to drop off and pick up kids at camp, and all of our other day camps are parent drop off and pick up. Some of the community day camps, we don't have for sure dates yet, and we may not have a for sure location yet, but we will get those and make sure that the communities know about them. There was a question about the Matsu Valley having a bus, and the answer is there's not a bus for the Matsu this year. We tried to do the Matsu bus, and we had 1 or 2 kids sign up for it, and so it wasn't financially a possibility, but it may be in the future. So if bus is something from the Matsu Valley that is important to you, please let us know so that we can gather that data and see if it could be a possibility for the future. Any questions about day camp? I'll talk about paying for camp and cookie credits and things after overnight camp, but I'm happy to answer any day camp questions. Great question. So question is, what time do parents drop off and pick up at Singing Hills? So it's a 9 o'clock pickup. I think there's a half-hour window, sometime between 9 and 9:15 or something, like 8:45 and 9:15. We'll get that out in the handbooks, but it's approximately 9 to 5. So I think it's 9 to 5 includes the times. I can look up the exact times for the bus and send that out in a follow-up email. So I'm happy to get that, or times for drop off and pick up. But 9 to 5 is camp at Singing Hills. All right, overnight camp. Overnight camp is a big independence builder for kids. This is a really great time. Lots of kids come to camp, and this is the first time they're away from their parents overnight. Although it's great if kids have sleepovers or stay with family and things before camp. But Camp Togowoods is a really awesome opportunity for girls to really build some of that self-reliance and independence. We did realize that we needed to add a few more shorter sessions for campers who were really just getting their feet wet in overnight camp. So this year we have 3, 4, 6, and 8-day camp options. Most of our camps are 6 days, but we do have a couple of different 3-day camp sessions, 1 4-day camp session, and 1 8-day wilderness trip. And at Togowoods, our programs fit into some different categories. So we do Girl Scout camp, which is kind of the try everything camp. This is the camp that the majority of our campers sign up for, where they get to try a little bit of everything. We also have water programs where girls spend a little bit of time in the water or on the water each day. We have wilderness camp programs where girls start to learn those canoeing and backpacking trip skills. And we have a leadership program for high schooler campers. So at Togowoods, campers live in platform tents, and it's not the picture on the PowerPoint, and I don't know if you can see me on your screen, but my background is Camp Togowoods, and you can see the tents, and I think I have a bigger picture in the PowerPoint later. But the tents are, they have wooden bottoms, they have canvas sides, and big tarps on top. And inside are somewhere between 4 to 6 cots And those cots have small mattresses and then mosquito netting over the top to keep the bugs out. And counselors sleep in tents next to the campers. So in a unit area, there'll be 5 tents. The middle tent is the counselor tent, and then campers sleep in the tents next to them. And you can hear everything through the tents. And counselors sit on the tent steps, they read stories to kids before bed, and they stay on those tent steps until campers are quiet and asleep at night. We had a question about what age is wilderness camp. Our introductory program for wilderness trips starts when girls are going into 4th grade. And then we have trips up through, I think all the way through high school. I'll double check. I have the ages on the next slide. The food at camp. So we do provide food for campers. Campers don't have to bring any of their own food to overnight camp. At Camp Singing Hills and day camps, girls all bring picnic lunches and eat their own sack lunch or picnic lunch with their group. At Camp Togowoods, most of the meals are served in the dining hall, and we serve meals family style, and we pass bowls of food around. We also have some days at camp where girls will cook out either over a camp stove or over a fire, depending on whether or not we have a wet enough summer to have fires. We do have showers at camp. Girls who are going to camp for 3 days won't shower at camp because they can shower before they come and when they go home, and that's plenty. Unless a camper has a specific medical need, and then you should just talk to us. Campers who are at camp for 6 days will shower sometime in the middle of their camp session. We do have outhouses at camp. There are no flush toilets at Togowoods. We have flush toilets at Camp Singing Hills, but Togowoods is a little bit more rustic, and we do have outhouses, or sometimes they're called latrines. And camp is also a technology-free space. So campers don't bring cell phones to camp. They don't bring iPods to camp. We work really hard to make a community where girls can get to know each other and explore nature and put away that technology for that time. That said, we do want to make sure that there is communication happening when it's needed. So especially if you are a parent who's maybe a parent of a first-time camper and you're a little bit nervous and you want to check in and see how your camper is doing, you are more than welcome to call camp and call the camp director, and they can check on your kid, talk to their counselors, those sorts of things. So you are more than welcome to call camp, and the phone numbers for camp and camp directors will be in the camp handbook that will be available a little bit closer to the start of camp. You're also welcome to write letters to campers and drop those off at check-in with the camp director, and they'll make sure that they get those letters every day or throughout the week, however you label them for the campers. We don't get mail at camp, so you can't actually physically mail letters to campers, but you can drop off mail for your campers, and that's really fun. You're also welcome to email camp directors. They have access to technology. This is kind of what a Togowoods schedule looks like. At 7:30 in the morning, the wake-up bell rings and counselors help girls get ready for the day, and they eat breakfast together as a group. All of the meals that kids eat, they eat with their group. So it's kind of like they're creating their own little family while they're at camp. And all girls will help participate in capers, which is doing a camp chore. So they might help put clean dishes away or sweep out the latrines or pick up trash around camp, something to help contribute to their camp community. And then throughout the day, there's a few different activity blocks where girls do those things like go canoeing or go to the art building or go on an exploration through the forest, whatever it is that their group is doing. And then again, in the evening time, things kind of wind down. Counselors make sure that kids are brushing their teeth and getting their pajamas on, and then getting to bed. And the counselors do stay in the units, and they're not leaving the units at night. So they are there throughout the night to make sure that campers are safe. And they always make sure that campers know how to find them if they need them in the middle of the night. So counselors are trained and prepared to wake up with campers if they need a buddy to go to the bathroom, or if they are not feeling well, or if they're homesick. Counselors are happy to work with campers, whether it's the middle of the night or throughout the day. And the schedule may change depending on the specific program or the age of campers or the needs of the group. So just like day camp, a lot of the activities are similar. We still do environmental education, art, hiking, exploring through the woods. Girls learn outdoor skills. This photo is showing some girls learning how to orienteer. Outdoor cooking, swimming, boating. We may or may not have our climbing tower ready to go for this summer. It has recently been refinished, which is awesome. We need to get it inspected, and we are working on getting somebody up here from the lower 48 to inspect it. So our hope is to have a climbing tower ready to go, not 100% sure. And then girls do have some choice over their programming as well. Counselors plan out a schedule for girls, and they listen to what girls are really excited to do. So if you have a camper who's really excited to do something specific at camp, have a conversation and make sure that they know that they can tell their counselor, and their counselors can be flexible. All right, question in the chat. What do girls need to bring with them to Togowoods? Great question. We will send out packing lists for all of our camps, and those are in the handbook, and you'll get them. But in general, campers need different kinds of layers to stay warm and dry, things to change into when it's raining. So rain gear, rain boots, just tennis shoes to walk around in, shorts and pants and things to play and get muddy in. Don't send anything that you want to stay super nice or that somebody's going to be really upset if it gets messed up. Campers should come with a sleeping bag or pillow, those sorts of things. But also camp has extras of a lot of those things if campers need them. At Togowoods, girls will go swimming, so a swimming suit and towel is a great idea. Those are kind of the big things, like swimming gear, rain gear, clothes for however many days, with the thought that it tends to be a little bit cooler at camp than in other places. So having warm, dry clothes to put on when it's raining is really important, especially dry socks. A few extra pairs of dry socks or warm socks are always appreciated by campers at camp. But a full packing list will be in the handbook, and we're happy to get that out to you. So I know that some people had questions about what age are campers ready to come to Togowoods? And the answer is it differs for every kid. We have camps starting for girls who are going into first grade. So if they've completed kindergarten or are currently in kindergarten, they can come to 3-day camp. Not every kindergartner is ready for 3-day camp. So a kid who comes to camp should be able to get dressed by themselves. And that might mean that you pack specific clothes that they are good at getting dressed in. They should be able to put their swimming suit on by themselves. They should be able to go to the latrine by themselves, and generally have a little bit of ability to take care of themselves. Counselors are ready to help girls out with all sorts of different things. But if you have a concern or you're not sure if your camper is ready to come to camp, please reach out to a camp director, call the office, or email customer care, and we can have a conversation with you and help figure out if your camper is ready and help give some ideas on how to get ready for camp as well. So for girls in grades 1 through 5, we have 3-day camp. We're doing it twice during the summer, once at the beginning of the summer and once in the middle of the summer. I think the middle of the summer one is for 1st through 4th grade only, though. We have a few less groups that week. We also have a 4-day camp option for girls in grades 2 through 6. So kind of bridging the gap between 3 and 6 days. And then our 6-day programs are grades 2 through 9. Not every week of the summer has the same grade levels though. So I think there's only 1 week in the summer that is specifically Girl Scout camp for girls going into grades, I think it's 6 through 9. Other weeks of the summer will be grades 2 through 4 or something different. So definitely take a look at the camp mailer if you got it in the mail, or the camp catalog online, and we can put the link to that in the chat. But make sure that you're looking at the specific weeks and the grades that go with it. But Girls at Girl Scout Camp, try a little bit of everything. And then we have water programs. So Wet and Wild is our general water program for girls going into grades 4 and 5. And they do something water fun every day. So whether they are out canoeing or kayaking or swimming or having water Olympics, whatever it is, they're going to do something in or on the water or with the water each day of camp. And then Paddler's Paradise is our middle school grades 6 through 8 water program. And so again, they're going to do something water fun every day, but they'll also take a half-day kayak trip out of camp on a nearby lake so they can take their skills and practice somewhere else. And then River Runners is our high school program. And the grades on this got changed a little bit if you're comparing to last year's catalog. And part of that has to do with some requirements from NOVA, which is the guiding company that we use for this trip. So girls and their counselors and their guides from NOVA will go on a half-day river rafting trip on the Matanuska River. And then we have wilderness programs. So Sojourners is our 4th through 5th grade wilderness program. So they will do an overnight sleep in tents that they set up, cook their dinner kind of thing across the lake. It is still at camp though. So they're not getting in a bus and going somewhere. This is their at camp trip. So they stay at camp, they learn all the skills, they still pack their backpack and load their canoe and go across the lake. They just stay at camp and do it. Once girls get to middle school, growing into grades 6 through 8, they have the chance to go out of camp on wilderness programs. So Voyagers is a 1-night canoe trip, and Nancy Lakes is a 2-night canoe trip. They're both 6-day camp programs, but they'll spend 1 or 2 nights, depending on the program, at Nancy Lakes. And Nancy Lakes is a canoe area a little bit north of camp by Willow, and it has lakes and portages. So portages are the trails that connect the lakes. So girls will canoe and they will carry their canoes or portage their canoes across those portages. The ones at Nancy Lakes are fairly short, but for a new portager, they can seem like a big challenge. So they're about a 1/4 mile or less, and girls might do 1 or 2 portages, or some groups might be really ambitious and go around the whole loop and do 8 or 9 portages. It really depends on the group. We don't say girls are going to canoe this many lakes or go a certain number of miles for any of these trips. It's all about what the group's goal is and having a really good time and wanting to come back and do more trips. And then we have backpacking trips. So Trekkers is 1-night backpacking trip and Hatcher Pass is a 2-night backpacking trip. They're both in Hatcher Pass. The trailhead that we actually start from depends a little bit on weather and conditions and what's dried out and looking the best, but somewhere in Hatcher Pass is where they go backpacking. And then for girls going into grades 8 through 10 who are ready for a bigger adventure, we have a 4-day, 3-night backpacking trip on the Kenai Peninsula. This is our 1 8-day program. So they're at camp for a couple of days, they go on their backpacking trip for 4 days, and then they come back to camp for a few days so that they can still go swimming and canoeing and shower and all of those camp things. And then for our high school campers, we also have a program called Lead On, where they come for 6 days to learn leadership skills and to just hang out with each other at camp. And then they can return the next week for Lead On Take Action if they'd like. And then they put those skills into action and really work with younger girls. And we work with each Lead On camper individually to figure out what their goals are for Take Action and how they want to grow and make a difference. So if you've heard of counselor and training programs or the CIT PIN, this program meets those requirements. We just give it a little bit more general name because we have lots of campers who want to learn leadership, but don't necessarily specifically want to become a counselor. That's okay. These kids will learn about leadership in lots of different ways and how to put it into action in lots of parts of their life. All right, before I get into paying for camp, any questions about the Togowoods programs or ages or anything like that? I will keep an eye on the chat. If you do have a question, feel free to put it in. All right, so in the camp catalog, this picture on the right is kind of what you see. This is an example with Juneau Day Camp. So it'll tell you the session dates, that it's a 5-day camp, which grade levels it's for, and then it's going to have 3 different prices. Those are the tiered prices. So tier 1 is pretty much the actual cost of running that camp. And we know that those are big costs for families. And so Girl Scouts gives families the option to choose any of those tiers and find a tier that fits with their family's ability to pay. And that is totally okay to choose any of those tiers. Counselors and camps don't know what tier you chose. Your camper's program is not going to be different based on what you pay for camp. It is totally what your family can pay. If your family can't pay that tier 3 price, that is also okay. We have a campership program, and it's built into the camp registration to be able to fill that out. So it's a very short form. It just asks you a little bit about your family income and why you need a campership for camp this summer. And campers can get camperships for 2 different sessions of camp. And just because they received one last year doesn't mean they're ineligible this year. Just because one sibling gets it doesn't mean another sibling is ineligible. Each camper can receive camperships if your family needs that. And then girls who participate in the fall product program or the cookie program earn product credits. So girls who participated in the last year, so fall 2021 fall product program or cookies 2022 already have some product credits probably in their bank. We will use those this summer. They will expire after the summer though. So if your camper has any of those, make sure that you use them. If you don't know, send an email to customer care and we are happy to look that up for you. And then if you participated in the fall product program this past fall in 2022, or you're planning on having your girl participate in cookies, or maybe she's already sold some cookies, she will have product credits for this summer, and those credits expire in April of 2024. So they'll be good through the year. They can be used for programs as well if they're not used at camp. But they do expire before camp next year. So this is the last year where girls might have credits from 2 different years to use. So in the camp catalog, each camp is going to list how many credits girls need to get a free session of camp. So for Juneau Day Camp here, if a girl sells 500 boxes of cookies, that would be 500 product credits. Or if she's got some fall product added in there, maybe she needs less cookies this year. But but 500 product credits, so those are both from fall product and from cookies, equal a free session for Juno, and each session has a different number there. If girls don't sell 500, but maybe Camper and Juno sold 100 boxes, she still gets credit towards camp. So we calculated at 40 cents per credit. So for cookies, that is 40 cents per box. But if she sold fall product, it's calculated a little differently. So for every 2 items that a girl sold in the fall product sale, she gets 3 credits. So it's a little bit different. But if you're just thinking about cookies, yes, a box is a credit, is 40 cents at camp. Alexis, can you put in the chat the link to the product credit video? Do you know where that is?
I definitely can, although I'm not sure that everybody is able to see the things I'm posting to chat, but I will grab that link.
I think you can change it to everyone instead of hosts and panelists on the chat, and that will get it to everyone, or I can just repost it if you send it to me.
Yeah.
Either way.
I don't think it was letting me, but I will go grab that link.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Camp open houses are a chance, these are free. They're a chance for girls to meet counselors and check out camp and just feel a little bit more comfortable at camp. We have a lot of parents who ask, can I come to camp with my kid? And generally the answer is not during a true camp session. We don't have parent volunteers at camp. We do train our staff. They get about 10 days of staff training. Our staff are paid and have gone through lots of training on both programming, emergency procedures, working with kids, all sorts of different things. But we do have, there's the video, we do have an opportunity for families to come to camp together, and that is our camp open houses. So we do have a virtual open house, and it's not an open house for virtual camp. If you've done virtual camp in the past, we're not doing virtual camp. But there are some campers who maybe are not very close to Singing Hills or Togowoods. Maybe you're in Juneau or Ketchikan or somewhere else, or maybe you just can't make it out to Singing Hills or Togowoods. Please, we would love to see you at virtual open house. We will have camp directors there, we will have counselors there, and girls will be able to go to breakout rooms and talk to those counselors and try camp activities, and camp directors will be available to ask questions as well. And then at Singing Hills and Togowoods on May 27th, we will have the same sort of thing, just at camp. So counselors will give tours of camp. If girls come to Togowoods, they can see tents and where they would sleep. They can try different camp activities and play games with counselors. It's a great fun day. Both of those events, virtual and in person, are truly open houses. You can drop in when it works for you, and you can leave when you're done, and you can go to both Singing Hills and Togowoods. So it's definitely not you have to stay the whole time or come right at 10 a.m. But girls are welcome, and families are welcome to come throughout the day. Let's see. I know there were also some questions about safety, and we do want you to know that safety is very important. It is on the top of the minds of camp directors and counselors always. We do encourage campers to take healthy risks in a safe and nurturing environment, and our staff do have lots of training. So they do canoe safety training, they do emergency procedure training, everything from fires to earthquakes to missing campers to all of those different things. We practice emergency procedures for all of them. What to do if you see a moose. We are in Alaska. There are animals at camp. And we've never had big issues with those animals because we do a lot of things to keep camp clean and safe and give animals space. And most importantly, we make a lot of noise. So a camp full of 40 or 50 campers or hiking on a trail with 10 middle schoolers, I've never felt more safe, because they just make a lot of noise and it's fantastic. So our staff are, again, paid staff. They're chosen for their maturity and their ability to be positive role models. I am in the middle of lots of camp interviewing right now, and it's really exciting to talk to mostly young adults who are excited to work with kids and really excited to help teach character and help kids become independent. All of those things are brought up in every interview that I do. We also want you to know that Girl Scouts and camp are a very inclusive environment. We have all sorts of different girls. Girls are all individuals. Camp welcomes girls of every race and ethnicity, income level. Every year we have campers at camp who are homeless and campers at camp who are able to pay that top tier and come to camp. We have a huge variety of kids who come to camp, campers with different religions, different sexual orientations, different everything. Every camper is an individual, and we really do welcome all campers at camp. Some campers come to camp with extra concerns. Families or kids might have concerns about food allergies or a specific physical, medical, or behavioral characteristic, or might just be super nervous about camp, or parents are super nervous, which is also okay. So please give us a call. If you're a parent of a kid where it would be helpful to have a conversation about the menu before you get to camp, or a camper who has some behavioral concerns that setting up specific things before camp would be helpful, we want to have those conversations. We partner with parents to make sure that we can provide a safe place where your kids can really explore and grow and be safe at camp. For some campers, it is really helpful to come to camp with a buddy. Other campers want to come to camp solo and meet new people. That is okay. All campers are going to meet new people at camp, but campers can come to camp with a buddy. And so to request a buddy, there's going to be a form right away during the registration process. It might be after you select your camp session, but during that registration process, you'll be asked if your camper has a camp buddy. If your camper has a camp buddy, you can select one camp buddy, and the buddy needs to be mutual. So it can't be there's 9 of us in the troop and I select one buddy and that person selects another buddy and that person selects another buddy. If there's a troop that wants to come to camp together, you are more than welcome to sign up for the same camp session, but we will only guarantee one buddy for each camper. And these are the directions for camp registration. So girlscoutsalaska.org/camps is our camp page. That's where you can find the camp catalog, camp registration, this recording, information about product credits. All of those things are on our camp webpage. I do want to mention current Girl Scout members have exclusive registration from February 1st to February 6th. And then camp registration opens up to any girl who wants to come to camp. So if you have a specific camp session you are really wanting to get your camper into, I recommend signing up early. I know there are some parents that I've talked to who are saying, I want to come to the open house and see how my camper likes it and then sign up. That's totally fine. It is possible, though, that camp sessions will be full. So I do recommend if you have a specific session or specific dates that you need to register early. And we'll put the link to the camp page in the chat. And again, there's those dates. So February 1st is the first day that campers can register for camp. And when you register, you'll put in family information if you haven't already. If you had an account from last year, you'll be able to log into that. It won't ask you for a camp health form or a ton of detailed camper information right during that registration process, so that registration can be a little bit quicker. We will open those forms up and ask you to go back into your account later in the spring to complete those. All right, with that, any questions, things that I can answer, things you want more information about, please feel free to put them in the Q&A or in the chat, or I think you're able to raise your hand or ask to be unmuted. I'm happy to allow people to ask live questions as well. We've got a small group here tonight. Alexis, did I get all of your links reposted?
You did, and I think we've gone over every question that we got so far. But please give us a call, send us an email if you think of something, right after
Yes.
Zoom ends, because that's always how it works.
I think most people have this at this point, but I put the customer care at girlscoutsalaska.org. That's gonna get you your quickest answer, your best answer. We have people monitoring that email much more than anybody's individual emails. Great question. Where will the link be? So I will email the link out to everybody, but it will be posted on the camp page. I think it gets put on the forms and handbooks tab just because it's more camp information. But we'll also, I'm sure, post that link on Facebook for people and in our newsletter, that sort of thing. But definitely I will email it out to all of you of where it's at on the camp page, and we'll make sure to share that with other families. I know there's lots of people who couldn't make it tonight. It was a little bit short notice in getting this out, but we did want to give you all a chance to ask questions before registration opens next week. Lisa, I think you are able to unmute.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Okay. I was just in the camp catalog under traveling to camp. It talks about, 'cause we live in Ketchikan, so looking at possibly sending my daughter up to Togowoods. It says if a camper is traveling by plane, camp staff will meet her at the airport. So is that an option that I could send her up on a plane and with whatever she needs, and then you guys could pick her up and then take her back to the airport? Like,
Yes.
How does that work?
It is an option. It's a big step for girls, but every year we have girls who come unaccompanied from Juneau, from Ketchikan, from Sitka, from Tyonek, all sorts of different places, and we do coordinate that travel. So we will communicate with you beforehand to let you know who the person is picking up that camper so that they can be put on an unaccompanied minor form if they need that. And we will pick campers up right at their gate. We'll pick them up, and generally it's in our 15-passenger bus that we use for our wilderness trips. So we pick campers up from the airport, we bring them out to camp, and then the same happens on the return. We find out who the authorized pickups are to put on the unaccompanied minor form, and we take those campers to the airport. We stay with them at their gate until their plane has left. And then there's communication along the way as well to let parents know that we've picked up the camper, that the camper's made it to camp, those sorts of things.
That is amazing information. I never realized that was an option. So definitely not this year, but in the future. That is great to know.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely want to make that possible, especially for those middle school and older campers who want that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? Well, again, customer care at girlscoutsalaska.org. We're happy to answer questions. We'll also probably have more Q&A information opportunities as we get closer to camp. But again, we just wanted to make sure that you had some extra information and opportunity to ask questions before camp registration opens. So thank you everyone for coming, and have a wonderful evening.